Sibling relationships are strange. They can be our first friendships or our competition, and sometimes they can be both at the same time. How many of us been there? I, I can tell everyone. This episode is not about blaming or glorifying siblings. It's all about understanding, you know, why sibling dynamics shapes our internal world or in general life. Recognizing rivalry versus bonding, learn how to outgrow unhealthy patterns without bitterness. Before we deep dive into welcome to the Road Dog podcast, I'm Dr.MUKUND. So today we're gonna a little bit discuss about how these things affect us and what are these actually. Like, let's begin. What is sibling rivalry really means? It's basically more of an attention, validation, comparison. Parents may deal with their children equally, but sometimes uh, unconsciously one child might get more attention, the other might not. They feel that unequal emotional availability, and so on and so forth. These things create something in the child's mind, and they express through different manners. Like, sometimes it becomes more of a competition between child, like the siblings. Sometimes it might be simply competition. Sometimes becomes just a survival in between them, and a lot of fights and misunderstandings and so on and so forth. Like, there is a lot of reasons why they have that rivalry. Like, they might even fight for silly things, right? That doesn't even make sense in real world, but yeah, that's basically the rivalry forms at different phases of child's life, and sometimes the reason might be valid, sometimes they are not. We'll deep dive into it, but I can tell one thing: most sibling rivalries isn't actually hatred. I think it's more of a unmet needs competing silently. I think that's the thing that's going behind the scenes. So yeah, and like I said, the reasons might always be, sometimes it might be reasonable, sometimes it won't be, and so on and so forth. So I really can't tell, but yeah. And yeah, so let's move on to the next part. When this rivalry turns unhealthy, usually, like, the first thing, yeah, I think parents can easily identify this: the constant comparison. Parents love this, isn't it? They love to compare elder one with the younger one, something like so on and so forth, with their accomplishments, achievements, and so on and so forth. Like, every family will go through that, I guess. At least most of them suffer through that thing. One child is called the golden child, the other child is called irresponsible one, and so on and so forth. And one becomes so visible, the other becomes so invisible. right? This does affect, adulthood, and we cannot blame anyone here, because even though you can tell, like, as a parent, we are dealing both our children or all of our children equally, and so on and so forth, but that doesn't mean child will reciprocate at the same level, even though if you deal on the same grounds. So it's kind of a gray area. We really cannot distinguish, no matter how good you gave them everything, and so on and so forth. So this does, affect their adulthood life in a lot of areas. Like, some might become people pleasing, some might become overachieved, emotionally distant, and vice versa as well. I'm not trying to blame anyone here, because even parents can't do much, because it's most of a psychological thing. More of what you have done, they will compare themselves no matter what, and that thing we really can't comprehend a deeper what they actually going through and being through. No matter what parents do, like, give them every opportunity, everything equally and at their best. Some might one child can utilize it, the other one may not, and then the which child is not so successful, they just blame everything on their parents or their successful child, and so on and so forth. Like, it's kind of a very difficult situation for parents to actually deal with as well. Yep. That's why I'm not trying to accuse anyone here. We are just trying to just navigate through how we can form a healthy bonds. At least, not gonna say we can achieve it completely, but at least we can try. Try to navigate through those unhealthy patterns, and so on and so forth. Have you seen this? Some siblings becomes, very much like they form like a lifelong bonds, but whereas the other families and the siblings become literal enemies. I know most of us been there, seen all those things, so on and so forth, isn't it? Uh, Whoever the siblings go through in difficult situations and come out with more understanding, have like more of a lifelong bonding because of their hardships that they have been through and everything they shared through the journey. And these bonds takes time, and over time they have developed a healthy relationships, right? And so on and so forth, isn't it? But same way, the same situations, and some siblings become enemies because of hardships, and so on and so forth. Yeah, that's also a mere possibility. Same things but different outcomes being there. And yeah, some becomes protectors and some becomes literal enemies of each other because of those hardships. So it's kind of can't actually predict why, and so many factors might be involved. So yeah, like, some grow into protectors kind of a situation, quite supporters. Some people just understand what they were going through, and without even saying a word, they have that level of understanding, and so on. But same situations with different siblings, they literally go through the opposite of what I just mentioned. Like they literally become enemies, they tear each other up, they are always constantly comparing themselves, and so on and so forth. I think that's pretty much. I don't know how much parental involvement will affect that, but it's more of their sibling bonding, how it forms and why it forms, and their anchor points in their own life through their own experiences and so on and so forth. That's completely very subjective part, and we cannot actually determine exactly how they form it. We can do determine that based on their life stories and difficult situation they've been through and how they navigate through the life, and that does tell a lot. But I have seen both kind of situations where some people literally have like very wonderful bonding, and some siblings have like the worst bonding on the planet. No matter what they do, they constantly fall into those loops, I guess. And I can tell one thing though, a healthy sibling bonding will always look like coming home without any explanation, kind of a thing. Like you feel like a home. But the same way, the unhealthy bonding will be like you will have the constant pressure, even they are at the same room. They both are like envious, they both are constantly comparing, and they're plotting sketches and so on and so forth. I know, like, irrespective of ages, uh, in every family, this do exist one way or another. So, definitely check it out in your own surroundings. You will come to a conclusion what it actually feels like and sounds like. And I am pretty much sure almost all experience this at some point of our own lives. So sometimes it's a very good bonding, and sometimes it's not. Now let's move into accepting reality without resentment. Like I think this is very powerful thing in this episode, because there are good parts that exist, there are also bad parts that exist. Now if everything is going great, everyone will have no problem, like all good, superb, life is great. Now the problem comes the moment things goes wrong, and literally the family becomes a war field, and the same siblings becomes opposite warriors fighting for something, right? Yeah, that's why not all siblings will be close. That's Let's be brutally honest here. In our own life experiences and observations, not really everyone becomes very close. Sometimes we have to maintain the distance, not because we failed as a sibling or a child in a family or whatsoever you can call it, but sometimes it's more of a less explanations and more of a, what do you call it, more of a protecting your own emotional needs and protecting your own peace. Sometimes these boundaries needs to be exist, even for let's just say for the most loving choice, you have to take it, because most of the time these boundaries will eradicate almost all negative things that might happen, or trying to stop those negative things to happen in their own lives. And I'm not gonna say every sibling is perfect or every sibling is not gonna be a perfect one. But I think sometimes in our own lives and we do accept them just because our sibling, but we both know they are not that of a good consciousness to be around on a constant basis. So sometimes we accept them, but it doesn't mean everything they do is gonna be liked by us, isn't it? So sometimes acceptance is not the approval for their own behaviors or the choices and other things. So in order to protect your own peace of mind, boundaries does need to exist in such cases, even though you like your siblings and so on and so forth, or if you don't like them but you don't want to say it out, you don't want to break that bond and so on and so forth. So whatever the reasons might be, but still we it's better to have boundaries so that at least you can not change them, but at least you can maintain certain level of healthy relationships, at least on the superficial levels, at least like a last resort or something. So I think it's better, even if you don't have a perfect sibling or a good relationship with your sibling, it's better to maintain boundaries to have peaceful lives for each other. I think that's much better. I feel it personally as well. And this is where we have to navigate through once we are with this not so great sibling relationships. We have to focus on our own personal growth beyond these sibling roles. Like sometimes you have to, it can feel different. Sometimes you literally have to step out of the strong one or the successful one or the problematic one or whatever you call. You have to basically redefine your entire identity about that. I think that's one way of choosing your own emotional ecosystem, let's just say, so that you can protect your own peace and you can have your own life without disturbing the others. I think that at some point it's better to have their own lives and move on with their own personal lives, because like I said, some people will have really good bonding, but unfortunately not everyone has that privilege to have that great bonding. So it's much better to let go and have your own life. And you don't need to be a bad person, or you don't need to tell them all these things. You can just have clear boundaries and have your own life and let them have their own life. Just respect each other on the superficial levels and just move on. I think that's much better and easier, because the moment you try to fix someone at any point of stage, then instead of fixing something, that will become into a war field. Because if you can really change any person just like that, they won't be two unique people or different people, and the rivalry doesn't even start in the first place. So once it started, which means they have their own differences in their own ways, it's better to respect that and move on rather than fixing or changing someone. It's like waste of time, I can tell. You can try, but you'll end up getting no outcome, nothing. but wasting your time, energy, and your resources, basically. So yeah, so I would like to close this in a such a way like sibling rivalries may shape us, but they don't get to define us forever. I think the growth begins the moment the comparison ends. And peace begins when we choose understanding over expectation, because in the end, what it matters is whether you had a peaceful life or not. So, yeah, I think that's better conclusion to have. Yeah, I think that's much better. So, yeah, so that's it from me for this episode. Kindly let me know what you guys think, and if you have been in these situations, or if you have a good bond with your siblings, kindly comment down below. Or if you fixed your rivalry in some way, let us know the solutions as well. I would love to check your comments, and if you can provide a little bit of insights or different perspectives, feel free to comment down. Let's just have a healthy conversations in the comment section, and we'll try our best to navigate how and what are the other ways we can sort things out. Because so far, as much as I am aware, there is not much of a solutions there, because changing a person is not that easy, that we all know. The change takes a lot of time, and there is no guarantee that one wants to change. But anyways, I would like to hear from you all in the comment sections. Feel free to comment down. And thank you very much for your time and attention. This is Dr. Mukund from the Road Talk podcast. I'll catch you up in the next one. Take care. Bye.